Have you ever woken up in the morning and felt like something was missing? As if life were just a meaningless repetition of empty days? That feeling that nothing matters, that you're just existing, not living? Imagine for a moment that you've been in a dark room for so long you've forgotten what light looks like. Your eyes have grown accustomed to the darkness, and you believe that this is all there is. Now imagine someone telling you, this darkness you feel isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of true understanding. Seems impossible, right? Well, over 200 years ago, a German philosopher named Arthur Schopenhauer experienced the same sense of emptiness that you're feeling now. He not only survived it, but he also transformed that pain into one of the most profound and liberating philosophies in human history. Today, we will discover together why Schopenhauer believed that depression and the feeling of emptiness are not flaws to be quickly fixed, but rather signs of a mind that is finally ready to see reality as it truly is. And more importantly, how to use this perception to find a genuine peace that doesn't depend on external circumstances. If you feel it's time to stop being a hostage to this feeling and want to discover the strength that great thinkers can offer, you know that this channel is your refuge. Subscribe now and turn on notifications, because the journey we begin today is just the first step. Let's start by understanding something that might shock you. According to Schopenhauer, this emptiness you feel isn't a problem, it's an awakening. Most people live as if in a dream, chasing after goals they believe will bring them happiness. The dream job, the perfect relationship, the new house, the new car. Schopenhauer called this the veil of Maya, an illusion that makes us believe happiness is always in the next achievement. Think about your own life. How many times have you thought, when I get this, then I'll be happy? And when you got it, what happened? How long did the happiness last? A week? A month? Here is the raw truth Schopenhauer discovered. We are driven by a blind force he called the will. This force constantly pushes us to desire, to achieve, to consume. It's like being on a treadmill that never stops. When you don't have what you want, you suffer from the lack of it. When you get it, you quickly become bored and move on to the next desire. Think about the last phone you bought. Remember the anxiety to get it, the research, the saving, the anticipation, and after a week of using it, how did you feel? Probably normal, right? This is what Schopenhauer meant when he said, life oscillates between need and boredom. The feeling of emptiness you have is your intelligent mind realizing that this game is endless and meaningless. Congratulations. You're starting to wake up. Now comes the part that could change your perspective forever. Schopenhauer didn't see suffering as something to be avoided at all costs. For him, suffering was the best teacher there is. Think of it this way. When you're comfortable, happy, with everything going well, do you stop to reflect on life? Of course not. You just live on autopilot. But when pain comes knocking, a romantic disappointment, the loss of a job, the death of a loved one, that's when you stop and ask, what is happening? Why am I here? What is the meaning of it all? Schopenhauer said, all genuine suffering is in fact knowledge. It is through pain that we develop compassion, wisdom, and a deeper understanding of the human condition. Do you know anyone who has never truly suffered? That person is probably superficial, aren't they? Now think of someone who has gone through real hardship. These people usually have a depth, an empathy, a wisdom that is impressive. Depression in this view is not an illness to be immediately medicated. It's a sign that you are questioning the illusion society has sold you. It's your mind refusing to accept shallow answers to deep questions. When Schopenhauer said life is suffering, he wasn't being pessimistic. He was being realistic. And that reality, as harsh as it may be, is the first step toward true liberation. Here we arrive at the heart of Schopenhauer's philosophy. If we are slaves to this blind will that makes us desire endlessly, how do we free ourselves? His answer was revolutionary. You must learn to deny the will. This doesn't mean becoming a hermit or stopping living, but rather stopping being dragged around by your impulses like a leaf in the wind. You're on the couch watching Netflix. A notification pops up on your phone. Immediately, without thinking, you grab the phone and check it. Then you go to Instagram, then to YouTube, then to WhatsApp. An hour later, you realize you've wasted time, but you don't know exactly how. This is being a slave to the will, acting, on impulse, without awareness, without real choice. Schopenhauer proposed the opposite, conscious contemplation. Choose a time of day. It could be in the morning, having coffee, or at night, before bed. For 10 minutes, just observe. Observe your thoughts as they arise and pass. Observe your emotions. Observe the environment around you, but without judging, without reacting, without getting involved. When the impulse to grab your phone, to eat something, to do anything arises, just observe the impulse. Don't fight it. But don't be dragged away by it either. Be like a scientific observer studying an interesting phenomenon. Schopenhauer discovered that in these moments of pure contemplation, the will quiets down. The suffering stops. Not because you got what you wanted, but because you stopped wanting compulsively. Have you ever noticed how different you feel when you're watching a sunset, or listening to a song that moves you, or reading a book that captivates you? In those moments, you aren't desiring anything. You aren't anxious about the future. You aren't dwelling on the past. You are simply present. This is the experience of denying the will. Schopenhauer made a striking discovery. When we manage to see beyond our own suffering and realize that all human beings are in the same situation, trapped on the same wheel of desires and frustrations, something magical happens. Genuine compassion is born. And here is the beautiful paradox. When you stop obsessively focusing on your own problems and start to genuinely connect with the suffering of others, your own suffering diminishes. Why does this work? Because depression is often an excess of self-observation. You get stuck in a cycle. Why do I feel this way? What's wrong with me? How will I get out of this? It's like navel-gazing. The more you look, the more problems you find. Think about the last time you genuinely helped someone, a friend in trouble, a stranger on the street, a family member needing support. How did you feel in that moment? You probably forgot about your own problems for a while, right? Schopenhauer called this the ethics of compassion. When we realize that suffering is universal, we stop feeling special or unique in our pain. We realize we are all in the same boat, and this creates a deep connection with humanity. Once a week, do something for someone without expecting anything in return. It can be simple. Listen to a friend vent, help a neighbor, make a donation, or simply give a genuine smile to the cashier at the market. Observe how you feel during and after this action. Schopenhauer made a bold claim. Art is the only true remedy for human suffering. Not because it solves our problems, but because it transports us to a different state of consciousness. When you are truly immersed in an aesthetic experience, whether listening to a song that gives you chills, contemplating a painting that mesmerizes you, or reading a book that transports you, what happens? You stop thinking about your problems. You stop desiring compulsively. You stop suffering from anxieties about the future. In that moment, you temporarily transcend your individuality. You are no longer John, Mary, or Peter with their specific problems. You become a pure observer, contemplating the essence of things. It's as if the will falls asleep and you experience a little taste of true peace. Remember the last time you lost track of time reading a book, or were mesmerized watching a movie, or were deeply moved by a song? In that moment, you were not depressed, anxious, or empty. You were whole, present, connected to something larger than yourself. Create intentional moments of aesthetic contemplation. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate. Set aside 30 minutes to listen to a full album without doing anything else. Visit a museum or gallery and allow yourself to be impacted by the works. Read quality poetry or literature. Observe nature with attention. A tree, the clouds, the movement of water. Schopenhauer discovered that these moments of aesthetic contemplation function as little deaths of the ego, and paradoxically, it is in these little deaths that we find true life. We have reached the end of this journey with Schopenhauer, and I want you to pause for a moment to realize something important. We started by talking about depression and existential emptiness as problems to be solved. We end by understanding that perhaps they are the first symptoms of a consciousness that is finally ready to see reality. Schopenhauer did not offer a quick fix or a magic solution. He offered something much more valuable, a completely new way of looking at human suffering. Instead of fighting against pain, learn from it. Instead of seeking constant happiness, find peace through contemplation. Instead of being stuck in your own world, connect with humanity through compassion. We live in an age that sells us happiness as a product. Social media full of perfect lives, products promising instant fulfillment, self-help philosophies offering solutions in 7 steps. Schopenhauer invites us on a different path, the path of wisdom through acceptance. This does not mean conformity or passivity. It means stopping the fight with reality and starting to work with it. It means understanding that suffering is part of the human experience, and that trying to avoid it at all costs only creates more suffering. The next time you feel that emptiness, that feeling that nothing makes sense, remember Schopenhauer. Perhaps your mind is simply tired of the illusions and ready for something deeper. Perhaps it's time to stop chasing the next distraction and start contemplating what truly matters. Depression can be the most honest invitation life gives you. The invitation to stop pretending everything is fine when it's not, to question the beliefs you've inherited without examination, to seek an authenticity that goes beyond social appearances. Philosophy is not a set of dead words in old books. It is a weapon for life. What we've seen today is just one of the many tools we can use to carve out an existence with more purpose and serenity. If this message resonated with you, and if you wish to continue on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment, do your part. Subscribe to the channel and join our community of thinkers. The next video may hold the key to your next great challenge.